All right, guys, we are live. We are doing a 2023 rookie mock draft with none other than RayGQue down there in the bottom left corner. What's up, Ray? Thanks for joining us, man.
Appreciate y'all having me on, man. I'll check out the stream quite often. So to get on here and chop it up with y'all about these upcoming rookies is to be fun. I think the people enjoy it. So thank you for having me on.
Yeah. This is definitely special for us. Our tomorrow is our 1 year anniversary of starting this little channel, so we wanted to go big. So I thought we'd get you on the horn here. Okay, let me ask you a question to start this off, Ray. State of the Union on the 2023 class. Talk to me about it. What are your thoughts on this class these days?
It's a good class. It's a good class. I think you have quite a few quarterbacks jockeying for that top spot. I think the cool thing about that position is you sort of have a little bit of everything. You got traditional pocket passers. If you like to play it safe, you've got some guys with some high upside that can move around. It's a very diverse sort of quarterback pool. The running backs are awesome. Don't need to say a lot about that. Bijan Robinson, we've been talking about him for years. I think there are a couple of guys that I think will push a lot of people's process to their limit this year. Just size-wise, but they have some special characteristic to where some people will overlook and some people will stay far away. The tight end class, I mean, tight end is brutal in the NFL and it's brutal in college.
Right.
I'm not even going to try to guess like I know what's going on in that area. I think you've got one guy really right now, and even that guy, I'm kind of iffy on him. And the wide receivers, it's interesting. I was texting with Scott today, and we normally judge the strength of a recruiting class or a rookie class on the running back position. Yet you're seeing so many gamers now, dynasty gamers, fantasy gamers, that covet the wide receiver more than the running back. We see the NFL coveting receivers more than running backs. And the question I'm asking is, maybe should the strength of a class be just valued, engaged by the quarterbacks, the receivers, whatever the top back is, and then who cares about all the other guys? So overall, I think people will be excited. It's a lot better than what we just had. So it's going to be pretty cool.
Right. Scott, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, this is kind of throwing me for a loop a little bit because the strategy we've talked about for a year and I've been implementing for 2 years has been trying to get as many 23 picks, right? But now we're trying to adjust to the week-to-week game of what's going on right now in the dynasty space, and it's a more reactionary game than I've ever seen before. Like literally people are buying players because they had a big game, selling players because they've had a bad game, 2 bad games, and it's like, okay, this player is probably just not that good anymore. A season of bad games, and it's like Kyle Pitts just isn't even a good tight end, stuff like that. But then you're sitting with all these 2023 picks if you have them. And, we're going to get into this mock, and the more and more time goes by, I'm starting to look at this class and say, the picks are still going to be valuable, but is there maybe a little bit more we can do with the picks before you have to make the picks? I've got a lot of leagues where I got 4, 5, 6, 23 first. I'm thinking I'm going to control the draft, but then I'm going, the way to probably beat me in that draft is make me make all 6 of those picks and not trade me good players, not let me pick and choose who I want in the tiers that I want to pick from. Here you go, Scott. You want to pick 4 running backs in next year's class? Like, you guys know me. I don't want to pick 4 running backs. I want to extract value because you want to pick a running back, but I don't want to load up on running backs. Like, I want to pick my spots, but it's just going to be an interesting mock. This is our first true mock that we've done with other people besides me just mocking myself on the Patreon. So it'll be interesting, but I think the time is to exploit the value of these picks if your league still values them like they did a year ago.
Yeah, now Shane is going to get the 101, but give us your high level thoughts real quick, Shane, and then make your pick. I wonder who you're going to take. I have a hunch.
Things are cyclical, right? So right now we are definitely all creaming over the wide receivers. And part of that is because this running back class is aging out. Now, running backs are always going to be a risk to get injured, right? But when do I always say it's a good time to spend on them is rookie picks and when they're old. So I'm fine with taking 5 running backs in the first round and a half if I need to. Like, I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? I'll still build through that. 2 of them hit. Now, hopefully it's not the class with J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers, it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I'm looking back like, oh, well, that's not what I expected. But I know someone's still going to want to. I think the trade value is low on running backs right now. But again, I think that's more because the running backs are aging out, like Mixon, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara. Like we know that they don't have a lot of juice left. But try to trade for Bryce Hall. You can't get Bryce Hall for a random 23 first. And then Bijan Robinson, Zach Wilson. Excuse me, not Zach Wilson. Jahmyr Gibbs, guys like that. They're definitely going to be more valued in the eyes of the community than a guy like Joe Mixon. So when I'm going to spend on running backs, it's going to be a rookie draft. That said, I can't see how I don't just go chalk here. Now, if this was a straight up real draft, I'd be trying to trade back and get a quarterback at 103. But I'll go ahead and I'll take Bijan Robinson here.
All right, surprise, surprise. Taking Bijan Robinson out of Texas. Hook 'em horns. All right, let's have Ray. Let's have our guests go next here. Who you taking at 102, man?
This is a single quarterback draft, right? We're not doing any super flex stuff, are we?
Wait, what?
No, this is super flex.
Super flex? Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Single
yeah.
quarterback.
So I just, before I pick, I just want to push back a little bit on what Shane said. I agree with you, Shane, that those older guys are phasing out, right? The Camaras, the CMCs, that Dalvin Cook, those guys are phasing out. But not only are those backs phasing out, I think how the NFL utilizes the running back position is phasing from what it was when they came in. I think I've got to pick my shots on running backs. I don't want the Kenneth Walker grinder that probably is not going to be utilized in the passing game. I think certain backs, yes, but if I don't know that's the skill set for that running back, I mean, honestly, what we consider a bell cow today, what is that? There's a handful of those guys in the NFL right now. Literally a handful of what we consider for playing in this game, fantasy football, 10 plus years. Like the bell cow today is not what it was 5 years ago. So I think that line of thinking that, oh, you can just build, I want all the running. I don't want all the fucking running. I want the ones that can catch the ball or are the Bryce Halls and the Bijan Robinsons. I don't want to play around with Tank Bigsby and Sean Tucker right now. I don't. In the NFL, they're using 2 backs per team. 2 guys are carrying the rock. And if you'll be real sad if you don't have the one that's getting the receiving down work. So I think that we should start to think a little differently of how we view that position. And with all that being said, I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs at 102 because I do believe he's that type of running back that can be a game-changing type weapon. I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs here at 102.
So just real quick to Ray's point. So I almost default. Sometimes that's my fault. I default to thinking everyone knows that's the type of running back you should be trying to get, right? Like the rare 3-down back, like the Bryce Hall over the Ken Walker. Like there was a reason that there was a wide chasm between Bryce Hall and Ken Walker in this past draft. Besides the fact that Bryce Hall was an infinitely better prospect, it was also the fact that Bryce Hall is a complete back. Like what we want is Saquon coming out of college, right? And that's when we look at Bijan and we look at Jahmyr Gibbs, that's what we say. It's like, all right, this dude, or CMC to be quite honest, this dude could get me 70 to 80 receptions, he's probably not going to get 25 rushing attempts because, well, no one that plays long anymore is going to do that. But yeah, you're definitely 100%. Like we definitely, when we're talking about running backs, it's got to be the 3-down guys. I don't want to split one where a guy's getting pulled off on 3rd downs or, he's getting wonky work at the goal line and throwing Kenny Gainwell in there.
Yeah.
Right. All right, Scott, you are up at 103, my friend. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's already a good discussion with talking through the running backs. And, I did the first podcast on DD the other day talking about just the running back scoring in general is down. So I kind of agree with Ray. Like you have to pick your spots. You don't just take a running back because they're the next running back up. If you look at their profile and you go, like right now, what running back leads the NFL in touches? So it's Joe Mixon. Nobody likes him because you know what? He's a plotter at this point in his career. He's catching some balls, but the only reason he's catching, as many balls as he is because he's playing as many snaps as he is and because the team's running as many plays as they are. You're not looking at him going like, damn, This guy just needs 275 touches and he's going to post, 23 points per game. You're just hoping he gets to 18 points per game purely on, hey, does he get a touchdown? Hey, do they dump him 4 or 5 balls? So if all you know is you're drafting the next, let's just say you're drafting the next Najee Harris. And Najee had a great year last year, but I think a lot of us look at Najee and go, that was his best year. He's gotten it and used anywhere close to what he was last year. He's not explosive. He's not a guy that's going to chunk off, 20, 30-yard gains multiple times. So what's his ceiling? Is his ceiling? Sure, it's probably 20 points per game, but it's not 25. So that you have to really look at the running backs and say, all right, if I'm getting the next Dameon Pierce and he's just going to be on RB2, that's valuable as a placeholder. But as soon as it becomes like a premium that everyone thinks he's going to be the next Balcal, then that's when you sell high and you re-roll and you buy some replacement level points. So with that said, I'm not going to take a running back. It's tough to decide what quarterback to take too. Here's the thing. I love Bryce Young. I like Bryce Young. I think I'm going to go Bryce Young at 103, but that feels kind of gross knowing what you know about, his profile. I mean, he just got injured. Good that shoulder injury doesn't appear to be that serious. But the fact that you're taking an undersized, thin quarterback and, we've seen this year with, look at Justin Fields. Look at these quarterbacks that go to bad spots. At that point, do you really want them? So I'm a little worried about the quarterback class. I don't think any of these quarterbacks are transcendent enough to where it's wherever they go, they're going to lift the offense. So I'll go Bryce Young at 103, but it's it doesn't feel good. I feel like I wish there was other drafts where you compare this to 2021 or 2020. I'm going, damn, this doesn't feel as strong as it even did back then. And we're only at 103. So, but I'll go Bryce Young.
Shane, you are back up, my friend.
Yeah, so this is where it gets interesting, right? I'm going to go, again, it's super flex. I'm going to go CJ Stroud. I'm going chalk. I mean, he's looked really good this year so far. He's right there with Bryce Young for the QB1, right? In a perfect world, I would have traded back to the 103 and then been given the 104 and been just left with whoever was here. So I could say, well, I didn't have a choice. I just picked this guy because that's who was left on the board. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm picking this guy because he's the best quarterback available on the board right now.
We are back to you, Ray.
Yeah. This is I'm making this pick as if 4 picks have come off the board before me. Not that I took Gibbs at 2. It's these 4 players are off the board. And I sort of think this is a spot I kind of don't want to be at in the rookie draft. This is where that inflection point is for me, because I could take my top ranked receiver right here, and I could take Jordan Addison right now. But it's super flex. And if I'm at the 105, and if we're talking about Will Levis for this pick, then I'm just going to assume he got the requisite draft capital. I'm just in my mind, I'm like, he's gone. He's a New York Giant, right? I just have to, if he's in this conversation, he got the draft capital that matters. I just have to take the talent, the tools, and the trait and say, I'm going with Will Levis at 105. I don't think I could take even my top ranked receiver, Addison, who I don't think is even better than the top receivers in the past 2 classes. If I'm being honest, he's not Jamar Chase. He's not what most people thought was the one in 2020, CeeDee Lamb. So I'm going with Will Levis, the quarterback out of Kentucky. I'm betting on the tools and the traits of this quarterback.
So no concerns about him drinking mayonnaise in his coffee.
A lot of concerns about a lot of things, but I just got to bet on 6'3", 230, and a hand cannon. I just have to bet on that.
It's a good place to lay your bet.
Snipe me, Ray. No one else would snipe me at that pick. Come on. He knows that too.
One of Will Levis, huh?
And it's, you know what? That's going to be a pick that a lot of people are going to criticize. But I mean, there is no other name at quarterback right now if we're picking in October. There is no other name. And people go, oh, he's not efficient. Oh, he makes a lot of mistakes. Oh, doesn't have good pocket presence. But he's the one other guy that all big NFL draft people are putting in the top 5.
They love him.
10. There's nobody else. You can throw in names you want. You think it's going to be Hendon Hooker, or you think it's going to be Tanner McKee, but he's the one guy where people are like, yeah, he could be QB1. So it'll be interesting because I agree with Ray. He's got everything going for him except for, maybe he's not that good, but he's got everything else.
And remember, he couldn't beat out Sean Clifford. So I'm sure someone's going to bring that up. But just like NFL coaches make really poor decisions, college coaches make really poor decisions as well. Sean Clifford is an 18th year senior at Penn State, and he's terrible. And I wish he would just retire today. But James Franklin is he's a loyal dude. So that's why Clifford continued to start there for every year of his adult life.
Yep. So 106, I will follow with Ray. I do think Jordan Addison, if I had to pick a receiver right now, there's just too many questions about Boutte. He would be my number one, if not for basically everything, except for the fact that you think he's the best receiver. So I'll just take the safe pick with Addison. I mean, I think he's a better version of he's like a better version of Garrett Wilson. Like, I think you know what you're going to get. You know you're going to get a guy. Maybe he doesn't have an elite ceiling, but I think we're going to get a guy that can contribute day one. And I'm just pretty sure that he's going to be somebody everybody likes right away. So I'll lean him wide receiver one right now. Jordan Addison, 106.
I'd like to draft Caleb Williams here, but I can't because it's the wrong class. So I'm trading out here for a 24 first. I'm getting bold.
Already, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to get Caleb next draft. I'm going to go Jaxon Smith-Njigba. Look, I know his year has been about as bad as it can be, but he was so good last year. I'm going to just basically give this year as a mulligan. It doesn't count. And the only way it counts is it let him drop behind Jordan Addison, because coming into the year, we thought Jaxon Smith would be the wide receiver one. And then just looking at the other options on the board, I do love the running backs, but I don't want to go running back this early. Not again, not after the ones that are off the board are off the board.
What do you think about JSN, Ray?
I think he's good. I think he's a good player. I think there's some athleticism concerns, but we all know that athleticism and wide receiver aren't synonymous with fantasy production. But I question if I don't view him as a one in the NFL, but then I also said that about Chris Olave. And the reality is, if JSN is being drafted inside the top 10, the top 15, he's going to have every opportunity to be the one. So I think he's going to be a good player. I don't think he's elite, but I think he's a solid player.
Okay, so
I'm
up 108.
I'm at 108. I am going to go running back. I'm going to take Zach Evans out of Ole Miss. He's the only other guy that I think could be a true quote unquote workhorse. And even then, I don't feel as good about it as like Bijan or Gibbs. But right here, he's sort of in a tier of his own for me. So I'm going Zach Evans, Ole Miss.
All right, sounds good. Scott, buy me a little bit of time while I update this, get this ticker going, updated.
Oh, we have a ticker? Where's the ticker at?
The ticker was down there at like the 105. I'm gonna add in a couple more here. But no, Scott, you're up next. What are you doing?
How about throw a comment out there? Drew Sorensen Music said we're out at pick 8. I don't want to say we're out at pick 8. I mean, we're being a little pessimistic on these picks. I mean, it's October. The picks are not screaming at us being obvious. As soon as we get to the combine, as soon as we get to draft season, there's 15 to 20 other names I have on my list that could be getting like dynasty value draft capital. We're talking like top 60 draft capital, in the NFL draft. So we're a little pessimistic, but I think that speaks to there's a lot of depth in this class, but I don't know if any of us know exactly where it's going to shake out from like I'm sure Ray was a little uncomfortable picking Zach Evans at the 108.
Yeah.
Like he'd rather trade that for a guy that's producing right now than have to pick Zach Evans. But I'm pretty sure when you get on the clock, there's going to be multiple players, like first round players that you're like, all right, I can get on board with that. So I think it's a little tough to do now because I think the class is deep. We just don't know where the draft capital.
Well, it's not even just the capital, Scott. By the time we have these drafts, we'll have landing spot. We'll have NFL guys on new teams, cuts. Like there will be things to make. Dameon Pierce got attractive at one point, like very attractive. So the pessimism, let me tell you, I'm not shying away from it. It's warranted because a lot of these guys have done absolutely nothing so far in college. JSN, Kayshon Boutte, nothing, 0 burgers from them. Levis has been shaky. Richardson, not very good. So there is warranted, just like these guys haven't really done anything. Quentin Johnston, everyone's favorite receivers, got 9 receptions in 4 games. So there's reason to be bearish, but time will bring that up a little bit. So we know that.
Well, and think of where we were at this point last year. And we're taking Sky Moore, Christian Watson, James Cook, like all these players I think we're going to pick have better profiles than those guys.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you just relatively look at it that way, like this isn't a reason to be pessimistic. It's just not, we're not picking 12 Bijan Robinsons. Yes. So word of the wise, if you can get out of picks in your league because, you know, this dude that's looking at your team and you're 2-2 and he thinks somehow he's going to end up with Bijan or one of the top 2 or 3 picks, that take advantage of that. That's been the whole goal is, this is a random 23 first, right? Everyone should love it. Well, reality, if it's the 112, it's probably worth exploring. So I'll go Kayshon Boutte. Now, this is where I don't really want to make this pick, but, you know, everything I still see is the NFL views him pretty highly, even if he falls in the draft, which I don't think he's getting top 10 capital at this point. I think he's probably more of a like teens or early 20s. So it could be a little bit of a reach, and his profile is going to have, I think, production concerns. He had early production, but he doesn't have like overall production. You're not going to look at his college numbers and be like, dude, that guy dominated for 3 years. The second thing is I think there's going to be some, I don't want to say character concerns with him, but just things that people bring up, like what happened here.
Yes.
They're incomplete pieces to the puzzle, which didn't exist with a guy like Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave. You know, like those weren't there. So it's going to be a little bit iffy having to use this pick on him, but he could also be like a way better version of like what George Pickens was with first round draft capital, where it's like, holy shit, I just got the wide receiver 1 at the 109. So I'll just take the gamble, Kayshon.
So where are we at, do you think, right now in the draft versus like the Rashad Batemans of the world? Where do they fit in? Where do some of these younger vets fit into this draft? What are your thoughts?
I think a lot of people would take this pick because obviously if this is the 109, this probably has a decent range of outcomes to be a 105, 106, right? Like you're not going to know it's the 109. So I think you could probably justify trading like a Rashad Bateman for one of these mid first next year. You know, if it's the 110, 111, you might lose it, but if it's the 104, 105, you probably won that trade. So I think it's pretty straight, square up.
Yep. Yeah, I'm 100% still on team. There's a bunch of guys that I'm selling for 23 picks, and Rashad Bateman is one of those dudes. Like if you were to come to me and be like, I'll give you a Rashad Bateman for your 23 first, I'm going to laugh at you and call you names, throw things at you. And it's not going to be nice names either. It's not going to be like, hey, thanks, pal. No, I'll take the 23 first because one, the value is going to increase still. Because like Ray and Scott already talked about, this is all without landing spots. This was all without, because at least 7 of these dudes are going to land somewhere. We're going to go, that was a perfect spot for him. Like he's going to smash there. Like that couldn't have been better, even though we're going to have some guys that were like, oh, that's awful. He's in a timeshare. Good night.
Okay, Shane, you are up, man. We are at 110.
So I see the comments are lighting up for this young man, and I know he's only really produced this year against really bad defenses, but I don't care. Every time I've seen him on Twitter, he's making huge plays, and he's been smashing for a couple years. Best Syracuse running back since the days of Jim Brown, which probably isn't saying a lot. Actually, Sean Tucker.
That's not saying much because that was.
19,
That's when your parents were born.
1956, I believe Jim Brown was in college, maybe before then. It's been a while, but no, I like Sean Tucker. Like he's got speed to burn, obviously, which I'm always gonna love speed, even if it doesn't always equate on the football field. I'm still always gonna love it because it's just that one play, and we've seen it, right? He gets a little bit of open field and he's gone. And I don't, I'm not a tape guy, so I don't know how well of a receiver he is, but he at least can handle dump offs, I'm thinking, because he's got like 20 receptions this year and 19 last year. So he's at least usable in that aspect.
You're a tape grinder, Shane. Let's be honest. You just sit there and grind film.
I'm grinding right now, baby.
All right, Mr. Ray.
Is this my last pick? We're going 12 deep. Is that all we're doing?
Yeah, we're doing 12. We're doing 12 in the first round, and then we're gonna take some questions, and then maybe dig into the second round a little bit. Some names people haven't heard.
Okay, so I need to. I need to.
You will get more picks, Ray. Just
okay. Okay.
More picks.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Here at 111, I'm just going to assume he's a late first because I don't think he's going to be an early first. He's going to be a late first round pick if he declares. I don't even think he's going to declare, but I'm going to take Anthony Richardson, the quarterback out of Florida, here at 111. Size, speed, freak. He's not developed yet. He's not ready to go. He probably needs a year to sit. Minimum. Probably needs a year to sit. But if you have the patience with him, just like those people who were patient with Jalen Hurts, you can have an absolute difference maker, a year and a half after he's drafted. I think if he enters the draft in 23, I don't think he'll be a top pick, but he'll be a first round. Somebody will bet on the tools and traits, and he'll go to a situation like Detroit in the 20s where he could just sit behind Goff for a year, not do anything. The situation around him is good, and let him manage and be an athlete. I think you could have an even higher version of what Jalen Hurts is, because this kid, he's got more natural ability in his body than Jalen Hurts has. He's bigger, he's faster, he's stronger, and he's doing it in the SEC. So there's still a lot that has to go on development-wise, his maturation as a quarterback. But here at the back of the first, I'm willing to take a shot on this. And if I'm picking right here, I probably don't need him to come in and do anything, but I'm willing to bet on the talent if he declares. I don't think he will, but if he does, that's the guy you bet on. And if people were okay with taking Malik damn near in the back of this first round as a third round pick, you can't tell me that you can't say, if this guy's a first round pick, I can't bet on that. So Anthony Richardson right here. Let's go.
I like it. Scott, you're up, sir. Last pick of the first round here, 112.
I just want to comment on Ray's pick. Like, that's one of those where if he gets first round capital, he's gone at the 105, 106. So, like, it is a steal, but it also could be, you look back and you go, yikes, he doesn't even enter the NFL till like 2025. You know what I mean? Like that could be in his range of outcomes. So, I'm going to go Josh Downs at 112. I think this is like maybe a slightly better version of like Jahan Dotson. I feel very confident that he's going to get good draft capital. I don't know if it's going to be top 20 draft capital. And I think we're getting into the point. I mean, Ray and I have talked about this probably 50 times of, okay, this wide receiver class doesn't look that great, but that also counteracts with the fact the NFL is obsessed with receivers at this point because they're expensive. So if you can get guys that can contribute, teams will take them. Every team in the NFL is probably interested in taking a receiver in the first 3 rounds, regardless of what they need, just because of how much you have to pay them. So I think we're going to see more receivers get draft capital than probably their profiles warrant. And I think Downs is right now the favorite to be the wide receiver 4. So I'll just take what I think is a surefire first round pick.
Sounds good. That was fast. So Shane, you said you got some comments starred for us here.
I started like one. I'm just looking at, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the recap of the draft. Someone put it in there, and just looking at it, that makes me it made it move a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, there's definitely some risk there, but just the high end, like looking at Bijan and Gibbs, Young, Stroud, like that's a pretty tough, like 101 to 104. You know what I mean? Like I've lived through the days of N'Keal Harry. And I don't even remember who was the 102. Like is it the soup days when it's good, salad days, whatever it is, whatever the saying is when it's the good days. 23, 24 are both going to be really good, fun classes.
All right, so let's go to a few comments here. We got some questions. All right, the gray area. Thank you very much for the super chat. We appreciate that. I have 8 firsts in 2023 on the brink of competing. Jefferson, Wilson, Hollywood, Sky, Burks, ETN, Walker. Trade Deontay for a first, or is 9 too much?
Too much.
Is not too many first, Ray? Is there?
Yeah, because then when you have that many, people won't trade. Like you're going to make those picks.
Exactly.
Like you're going to make them because people would be like, dude, you have like what are you trading back? Like I'll trade my 108 to move back to 110. Like people aren't even going to deal with you. They'll just be like, you can have them. I'll pivot to 24. I'm not. That's too much.
I've talked about this on prior videos that once you get to that point where you've basically controlled the market, a lot of the league will just check out and be like, good luck with the class. You know what I mean? They're not going to give you those sweetheart deals where he probably thinks if he gets that 9th, and I know how I would think if I had the 9th, I'd be going, man, how do I get that 10th and 11th and 12th, you know? But then he has all the picks, and then he expects everyone else to trade into the tiers that he doesn't want to make the picks in. And that's just not going to happen. You know, he wants to sit there and go, all right, I'm going to pick the 1, the 2, the 3. I don't like the 4 and 5, so someone else can pay full freight for the 4 and 5. And no one's going to do that. They want to trade into the tiers, or they want a shot at trading into the tiers where they think they can get the guys they want to get. Mm-hmm. So I think 9 is overkill. Like, dude, he's already going to control the draft. If he just has, 8 picks in the first 12 and he has never more than 2 picks without picking another one, like he's going to control the tiers. So yeah, don't do it. Deontay's a good buy. Don't do it.
Here's the other problem.
Should he spend one of those 8 right now? Should he loosen up the market a little bit by buying a player and just showing that those first can be moved?
Well, he's just noted that he's already almost a contender. I'm already attaching a first to players on my roster and getting the best players in the league. Like I end up consolidate, bro. Like you should have T. Higgins and Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. Like with all those picks, there's no reason you don't walk out of your league with that, unless the guy, obviously, those are the guys that are up top or the gals that are at top of the standings. But you need to be getting receivers like that. It's fun making rookie picks. We love rookie picks, but it's more fun getting a young established player. You know what I mean? Like a T. Higgins, I'm like, at worst, dude's going to be a wide receiver too, a high-end wide receiver too. Justin Jefferson, and his worst week is going to be a low-end wide receiver 1. Like, I'd rather take those picks and go get that. And that's my problem with trading for another first, is I'm going to have to consolidate these. And if I ever take the time to look back and see what I traded to get those picks and then what I got when I consolidated them, I'm going to have basically just shuffled around the deck and wasted a ton of time. Like, it's fun trading. I love trading. But you're going to look back and go, wait a minute. I probably could have just had these players to begin with.
And I'll add one more thing. You do not want to go into a league where you have all the firsts, but you go, oh, I don't have any good quarterbacks. Like Shane and I do that on the roster reviews all the time. Like if you have all these firsts, because a lot of our subs have tons of firsts, like we get a ton of roster reviews and it's like, oh, I have 6 firsts next year. Well, who are your quarterbacks? Jimmy Garoppolo and Mitch Trubisky. Like you should probably be exploring deals for the Trey Lances of the world or Deshaun Watsons of the world. You know what I mean? Like get your quarterbacks out of the way. Don't go into next year and go, wow, I have 9 firsts. But man, I don't have any quarterbacks. So what are you going to have to do? They already know who you're going to have to pick. You're going to have to pick every one of those quarterbacks, and you've kind of wasted some of your money. Like you don't really have the ability to be as flexible as you want to be. So I don't know what his quarterback room looks like. We don't have time to go over it tonight, but yeah, if you don't have quarterbacks, you better be shipping some of those players off and try to address that first before I'm trading for, receivers or running backs.
Yeah, just think of last year's quarterback class, how much we loved it. Right now it's looking like, well, T-Law's going to be good. But Trey Lance wasn't looking great before he got injured. Justin Fields looks absolutely horrendous. Zach Wilson, the best thing he's done is bang someone's mom. Like it's risky, bro. It's like you definitely much rather go into the draft not needing a quarterback.
And you remember how many teams banked their dynasty future on the 2021 quarterbacks and dynasty startups, and they went T-Law round 1, Fields round 2, thought they hit a home run. I got 2 freaking studs for the future. Or if you were the team that missed out on T-Law and then you got cute and went Fields and Lance in the back of round 1. Just brutal, man. Just like you're that team is like you're just cooked.
Yeah,
like you're just like, man, this is what a worse way to start off a startup than with those guys. Wow, I don't want to play that game ever again.
Yeah, right. Could have taken Davis Mills in the last round and be in decent shape. Okay, yeah, let's move on to the second round here. What do you think, guys? Sound good?
Oh, I actually started some questions.
Oh, you did? Well,
That's some good
throw one
questions,
up,
'cause
buddy.
there's a couple that I think that are good for Ray while he's here, just to express his concerns with. Oh, if I could find it. So, oh, here you go. Sorry, and it's in all caps, but I don't think he's actually mad at us. Where's she?
Could you please explain the concerns with Sean Tucker and Zach Evans?
Oh, Sean Tucker's easy. It's just he's a Syracuse running back, and I know that sounds silly, but I mean, I have not seen any high-end draft analysts talk about him going high. I think he's very fast. I think he's very good, and that's what he is. He's very fast, and he's dominating the ACC. He can catch the ball. I don't know how else to say this, but the history literally, like we joked about it, the last good back was what? Sometime after Jim Brown, around then. Like I have not seen any big name analysts say that this dude is even in consideration in the first round or the second round. I haven't seen it. Like the concern is just, is he going to get the respect? Because he's a damn good player. He's a damn good running back, but is he going to get the respect, right? And you could talk about 4.3 all you want. Pacheco went out there and ran a 4.3. He doesn't have the profile of Sean Tucker, and he went in the 7th round. He's a freaking Rutgers running back, right? Yep. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong, because I think he's very good. Zach Evans, he's just gonna have to answer questions about his maturity. He had issues. I want to call them issues. There was drama surrounding his recruitment, and then he was at one school and was committed there, went somewhere else, didn't get along with the coaches there, but by all accounts, he's been an ideal teammate at Ole Miss. I've heard nothing negative about Zach Evans besides the fact that he can't fend off that true freshman. I think that's a little, you're just kind of like, damn, you know? But I don't think there are like concerns about him. Evans is in a tier of his own for me almost. So I don't think there are any like concerns, but there are just realities that I have. Scott, have you seen anybody talking about Sean Tucker as a top back? I see Mo Ibrahim get mocked higher than Sean Tucker, and I'm like, wow, no thank you. But
no, I think with Sean Tucker, I mean, I've heard some people also say, like, some people cite his receive. Obviously, he's going to be fast. We all know that, right? But he's a little undersized, and I've heard people say, like, his receiving game is, and I'm not, like, I don't watch film. I watch games, but I don't watch film. But I've heard a lot of other people say that his receiving game is kind of like the Travis Etienne type receptions, where, like, he's not a schemed receiver. He's more of, like, a receiver that'll take advantage of it when they dump him the ball. So I don't know if I'm kind of with Ray. I don't know if the NFL is going to view him as anything more than, like, honestly, he is maybe like a better version of like what Tyler Beatty was. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know if that's going to scream, hey, let's take him in the first 2 rounds. I wouldn't be shocked if he's around 4 or 5 pick and we're going, okay, I like him, but in late round 2, early round 3 of a rookie draft, not in the first round. Because if he went in the 4th round of the rookie draft, are we touching him with a top 15 pick? No. So I think there's other running backs that are going to get better draft capital. That's what I would say. So.
And Eric said it too. Zach Evans is currently get outproduced by a true freshman. He is. And the true freshman Zach Evans looks good, but the other dude looks good too. I'll just say that. So
yep.
Okay. Well, we let's do a couple just quick super chats here. We have some generous folks in the crowd. We'll just knock these out and then we'll go to the second round. We got Sean here. All right, 2024 is come up in this comment. So 2 2024 firsts and Treylon Burks for AJ Brown. What do you think?
It's a lot. I'm all about paying for hammers, and it's 2 years away. So, you know what I mean? I can tell myself I'll get those 24s back, and I'm good at trading, so I will. I don't know if you will, Sean, but you got time to get them back. So I'll do it.
I can see it, but I can also see this person that's selling AJ Brown saying, you know, he's good, but is he a true difference maker long term over a long period of time? I can see both sides. I would say if you really want to do it, it sounds like when you offer a trade like this, he probably really wants to get AJ Brown. So don't let this hold you up. But I can see where the other person's like, man, I'm getting a good deal. I'm basically getting 3 firsts.
I think he is. Mm-hmm. I think he is getting a good deal, but I also think getting AJ Brown is fantastic. I think this is a trade where Sean got ahead of, like, kudos to him for getting ahead of 24 picks, right? Like, you're trading away AJ Brown. You clearly have a direction. You're getting the potential for 60% of AJ Brown and Treylon Burks, and you're getting 2 firsts next year. I think both sides walk away from this happy. And if I had to guess which side feels a little happier, it's the guy who got the picks and Burks, and the one that gave up the picks and Burks to get AJ Brown is happy, but they're like, damn, I gave him 2 firsts and Treylon Burks.
Yep.
Right. Okay, and we'll go to this this next one here. David, thank you very much for the super chat, man. Appreciate it. I'm currently rebuilding Superflex League, 12 person, so 12 team Superflex. I've been trying to sell Keenan Allen and Aaron Rodgers for weeks. People laugh at me. What is a good price to sell each of them for?
Can you get a 24 first? Yeah,
for Keenan Allen, you can, right?
No, I meant Keenan Allen and Aaron Rodgers. To say as a package. Look, the problem is that Keenan Allen, no one's wanted Keenan Allen even when he was young, and now that he's old, nobody really wants him. And Aaron Rodgers, it's people are afraid that he's just going to retire at any point, right? Like we've been on this dance with Aaron Rodgers for the last 3 years where you can't get value for him. You just can't. So this is one of those situations, if you're contending, you're better off just holding them and letting them expire on your roster, to be quite frank.
I mean, in the last 20 games, Keenan Allen's been eligible to play. He's missed 5 of them. And over that time, he's only scored 16 points per game. So anyone looking at him going to wide receiver 1, like, he's just not. It's you're attaching your name, and you can't let him go for what he probably should go for. Like someone asked me today, would you take Romeo Doubs over Keenan Allen? I'm like, you know what? I probably would. And that's how far we've gone. In 4 weeks, you would have laughed at me before the season if you would have said that. But I think that, you're lucky if you get a 23-second for Keenan Allen. We're going to make some picks here in a couple of minutes. And I'm like, I think I'd take some of those players over Keenan Allen. Unfortunately, he's just a guy.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely a flat or declining asset, and he's one of those guys who's never been appreciated. You got Mike Evans, who's an absolute stud, who's constantly produced. And you haven't been able to get a lot for him for his whole career. He's just too solid, too good. Okay, so we got we're going to 201 here. So who's up first? Is it Mr. Manila? Is it Shane is the best up there in the top right corner?
Oh, that's not the correct handle, and you know it.
Excuse me, Mr. 10,000 followers at Shane the worst. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, Scott had to drag me over and then recruit like several other people on Twitter, and they were just like sending it out to their friends and family. Like, just follow the guy, please. Let's get him over it. Anywho, all right, it's 201, so I'm starting to get already a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Risky. I know he's small. He's not the smallest back that I'll draft in this rookie draft, I guarantee you, this mock, but I'm going to take Devin, and I'll pronounce this incorrectly.
You son of a you-know-what.
That's where I was going at 203. We're all thinking the same thing.
Son of a you-know-what. You stole my pick.
Yeah, dude looks good. Look, again, not a film grinder. Just watching him play football, I go, oh, that dude is better than the other dudes that are on the field, and I bet you he could do some of that in the NFL. So I got a feeling he'll be like the James Cook love I had this year, except that it's going to turn out well.
Say his name, Shane. Say his name. Let's hear you say it.
Devin Chain.
Close.
Yeah, a cane.
What's the first letter of his last name?
A.
Then finish out how you said it.
Chain.
There it is.
Chain. It's an A chain.
Devon A chain. Yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
No, see, that's
a great pick, man. I considered him at 111. At 111. I think by the time we get to the draft process, I'm going to say a hot take that people think. I think he could push for into round 1 capital when he runs. If he could check in at like 190, man, and run what I think he can run, I think there might be a team I'm not saying it's the right process, but they'll say Jamal Charles, difference maker type speed. I think he will be one of the guys that will push for round 1 draft capital. And I'm willing to make this bet. Shane, Scott, I told you, I think he gets drafted ahead of Sean Tucker. And I think it's by a wide margin. Like once the NFL draft comes, you're talking about an SEC running back that's going to probably run sub 4.3. He's going to get drafted ahead of Sean Tucker. I will put money on that right now. That's a great pick, man. Great pick.
Listening to
Somebody-
Lance Zierlein today, he said clear RB3.
Yeah.
Lance Zierlein said what again?
He said Devin Achane is a clear RB3. Like that's the guy. He's already on the radar. Like he didn't mention Sean Tucker, but Devin Achane is the guy. So I'm with you. First round pick or close to it.
And this is where fantasy gamers have to get this. I like this guy out of my head. Like prepare yourself, man. The one you like. I had to learn this lesson the hard way too. Like the buzz is already there for Achane. There is no buzz for Tucker at the moment. Things can change, yes, but nothing. He's smashing. He's getting a bell cow workload in college. He's going to have the special teams ability. He's going to get drafted ahead of Tucker, and it's going to push people to the limit because he's not going to be very big. And you're just going to have to bet on the outlier speed. So love the pick, Shane. You sniped me. I'm here at 202, and I'm flustered now because I thought he'd be on the board.
Flustered.
I am flustered. I'm going to take, I believe, the top senior wide receiver, and I'm hearing Dane Brugler and some other people talk about this guy could be a round 1 pick. Jim Nagy loves him. I'm going to take Cedric Tillman out of Tennessee. He's a big wide receiver. He's fast. He's playing great with Hendon Hooker. I know he missed a week with injury, but he's the top-rated senior wide receiver in the class. He's going to look the part. He's going to test well. The profile is fine. It's crazy. He's been in college for 5 years, yet he's only 22 years old. I don't know how, but he is. But I know it doesn't make sense to me either. He had to enter at 17, but Cedric Tillman's going to be a name that rises as well. He's a monster. So I'll go with the wide receiver here that I think could probably develop into at least like a Michael Gallup level type wide receiver. Cedric Tillman, he'll have his moments. And if I don't believe in him long-term, I'll just flip him, but I'll take Tillman.
203. I'll keep it pretty quick. I'll take, I think this is where you take a guy like Tank Bigsby. He'll be off the board before this because he's going to get draft capital. It just may not be the draft capital that people in Dynasty want, but he's going to be a top 75 pick if I'm being really, really conservative, which, I mean, if you're a late round 2 pick in Dynasty, we're going to still treat you as close to a first round rookie pick. So I think that he's fallen a little bit too far. So Tank Bigsby, no real, he doesn't excite me, but draft capital versus where he should go in a rookie draft. I think we're past that point.
I shouldn't do this. I know I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it.
But you're going to do it. This is what you do.
I'm going to do it. Look,
yeah.
I have a type, and my type is big, fast dudes at wide receiver, right? And they keep hurting me. They're going to continue to keep hurting me, especially when they don't have the college production. And the production is absolutely horrible this year. But I'm going to bet on the traits, and I'm going with Quentin Johnson. I don't like the pick. It's not a smart pick, but I have a type. Look, I like big, fast wide receivers. It's just what I like. Like, I grew up on, and he wasn't fast, but he was a size freak for his time, and he was a speed freak considering his size. David Boston, right? And the build is completely different. But, like, I think that just set a tone in my brain as a child and was like, this is what a wide receiver should be. He should just be really big, and he should be, like, a monster on the field. And that's what I keep going for. And one of these days it's going to hit. It's probably not going to be with Quentin Johnston, but I'm still going to draft him.
I'm at 205, and I am going to take it's getting to tier break level for me. There are like a couple of more players that I want to take before I start. My next 2 picks will be true process picks, but I'm going to take another guy that I think is going to rise. I think he's almost like Ray Rice as far as a prospect. He's going to be short, but he's going to be close to 215 pounds, and he looks he's balling this year. And I'm taking Blake Corum, the running back out of Michigan. He can catch the ball. He's good between the tackles. In a weird way, I think he can be a 3-down back, even though he doesn't look. He kind of looks like J.K. Dobbins looked. He looks like Ray Rice. They're short. They're compact. He's very athletic. He's going to test well, and the BMI truthers are going to love him. I'm going with Blake Corum.
Yeah, it kind of feels gross making these picks. And again, I just want to caution people that it sounds like we're all unenthused about making these picks.
Can I say this, Scott, real quick?
Yeah.
I'd rather Blake Corum at 205 than Sean Tucker at 110.
Yeah.
If I could have gotten an Anthony Richardson or JSN fell there or Boutte, and you told me I'd be able to get Blake Corum at 205, I'd rather that and Blake Corum opposed to taking Tucker and ending up with Quentin Johnston. Just want to say that, just as far as the way I'm looking at this draft.
Well, and just to add this, I think there are a lot of good running backs in this class that are going to make up round 3, round 4, round 5 of the NFL draft. So I'm not going to, this is going to be similar to 2022, where there was a lot of options at running back that got decent draft capital. They're just not drafted in the range where it's like they're going to be guaranteed to be potential starters. Like they could end up being Devin Singletary types or Darrell Henderson, which is fine. Like those have equity when you know when to start them. But I think this is going to be a other class. There's 15 running backs that I think could end up going in the second round or the early third round. But they could also be completely worthless. But I think it's a really deep running back class. So there's a lot of names. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to do what Ray's saying, like if you can get a receiver or a quarterback early, you're going to have options at running back that got decent capital. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to go with a receiver that I think is just by default going to get good draft capital. I'm going to go with Marvin Mims from Oklahoma. He's produced okay. He has a good freshman profile, a little down sophomore year, but he's produced in 3 different offenses with 3 different quarterbacks. He's got the OU tag on him. They've put a lot of damn good receivers in the league over the last 5 years. So I think he's going to be a top 50 pick, but he's also going to be one of those where it's like, if I can trade him for another receiver that's like a year older, that's better, I would consider doing it if someone wants the flashy new toy, but like he's not somebody I would take over Elijah Moore or Rashad Bateman or someone like that. Like I think there's a clear tier break here. Even if he goes in the top 40 and gets better draft capital than Elijah Moore, this is more of just a draft capital pick. So Marvin Mims.
Well, I told you I was going with little running backs. I mean, it's going to happen. So
big wide receivers and little.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. We're talking about guys that I think could be a difference maker on the field. I think obviously his touches will be limited at the NFL level, although he is averaging 22 rushing attempts in college this year for whatever that's worth. I'm taking Deuce Vaughn. Weapon, you know what I mean? Like, again, I made this mistake with James Cook and it hasn't come to fruition yet. But I think if Deuce Vaughn gets draft capital, I think he's someone that could make a difference on the field on 15 touches a game. I don't think he'll ever see more than that because he'll probably die on the field because he's smaller than me. But I'll take that risk right here late in the second, mid-second.
207. All right.
Right at 208. I've got a couple of options. I'm thinking about a quarterback here. I don't like any of the other receivers after Mims. I can wait on running back until round 3. I think I'm fine taking him here. Somebody will love him, and I'll trade him and get a different tight end. But I'll take the tight end 1. He's going to be a first-round pick. People in Dynasty are searching for the next Kittle, Waller, Hawkinson, Kyle Pitts. I see people already valuing Michael Mayer as a top 5 Dynasty tight end. I'll take him here at 208. I'm not the biggest fan, but I know there's somebody out there that loves him and believes that he's baby Gronk. And at 208, I'm fine taking him because, like I said, I can wait on running back till round 3, and a quarterback that I want will be there towards the back of the second.
I got to give Ray props because he definitely undercut me because I forgot about Michael Mayer, honestly, because I've just dismissed the fact that I think he's the most overrated player in this class. But you got me because, I mean, talking a little bit to my buddy Shane Hallam, I challenged him. I'm like, dude, why is Michael Mayer a locked in first round pick? Like, he's not going to come in with athleticism that warrants it. I said he's closer to like Pat Freiermuth than he is, some of the other tight ends that are difference makers. And he just flat out said, like, he thinks he's going to go in the first round because he's a Notre Dame tight end that has elite production, and he ain't going to show up and do anything. He's going to interview with teams. That's it. He's not running. He's not working out. I mean, he's not going to go out there, compare himself, and put up a, 6.4 RAS score or something like that. And he's like, he's just going to shield himself. He's got everything else the NFL wants. They've taken numerous Notre Dame tight ends in the top 2 or 3 rounds, and he's by far the best one. All the other ones, Cole Kmet, Tommy Tremble, like he's better
Tyler
than
Eifert. Oh, he's better. Yeah, he's better than all of them.
So he's just going to show up and be like, I'm the best tight end in the class, and watch the tape. And someone will take him in the first round. And if you can get a top first round pick at this point in the rookie draft, great pick, Ray. Great pick. I'm going to go quarterback. I think this is the one quarterback that I could see definitely jumping way, way up. I don't know if he's going to get to Anthony Richardson level, but I think the clear quarterback for me, if Richardson's not in the class, will be Hendon Hooker. So I'm going to go Hendon Hooker at 209, right? That's my pick, 209.
Yep.
Again, numerous NFL people. He's the one that's on their radar. There's a couple others, but he's the one they're talking about that's got basically everything you'd look for other than the fact he's 25 years old. But do we care about that? Joe Burrow, Kenny Pickett, Will Levis will be 24 on draft day. So, I don't think the NFL cares about quarterback age. And I think the efficiency he's put out there the last 2 years in the SEC has been top notch, and he can move. So I think they're going to like him. So I'll go Hendon Hooker.
I feel like I'm just copping out. All I do is just keep taking running backs.
Last pick, Shane.
Zach Charbonnet. Great freshman year. And then Michigan decided that they didn't want to use him anymore for some reason. So he had to go to UCLA. And he looked really good last year, and he looks good again this year. So, yeah, I'm all about Zach Charbonnet at 212. Is that where we're at? Yeah, give me a running back.
210.
210. That's my last pick. Oh, okay. I got you.
I think Shade. I think you know who he is. He's Brian Robinson. He's this guy that everyone thinks shouldn't go in the third round, and come draft day with the 85th pick, some team select Zach Charbonnet in the third round, and you're like, damn, you know what I mean? I didn't see that coming. I think it's a solid pick. I considered him too. Scott, you're right. I think Hendon Hooker's definitely going to be a hot name, but I think the name that will rise and is on the tip of everyone's tongue, big time analyst, and this weekend could really cement it for him versus Notre Dame. It's BYU quarterback Jaren Hall. I remember coming into the season, some big name analysts had him mocked to Seattle in the top 15. And I'm like, yeah, right. And I watched him versus Baylor, and he was real good versus Baylor. And the ball placement, you see all these other big name analysts talking about him. It's the hype with Zach Wilson. He's athletic, he's mobile, and he can throw a pretty ball. If he lights up Notre Dame on Saturday, his stock is going to skyrocket. Jaren Hall. So right here at 211, one of those quarterbacks that I definitely think could get first round draft capital is Jaren Hall out of BYU.
Last pick. I like the pick, Ray. I agree that there's 3 other quarterbacks other than the top 4 we picked that are on the radar, but there's no, don't let anyone convince you that this is a class where there's 12 quarterbacks potentially that could go in the top, no. Some of the names I see people mocking in the, first 3 rounds, I'm like, I don't know about that. So this is a tough one because there's 20 players I want to pick. And normally I would just be give me the guy who was drafted the highest, or the process would be, this is where I start taking the filler running back. So that's what I'm going to do. Call me a little bit of a homer. Ray mentioned Brian Robinson. I think this guy is the Brian Robinson. And Ray probably knows who I'm going to take, don't you?
I don't know, man.
A homer pick. Think that.
Yeah, man. Go ahead. I like it.
No.
I think so too. I think he's going to get draft capital. I do. Rodriguez.
Yeah, take Chris Rodriguez from Kentucky. I think him and Zach Charbonnet are both guys that the NFL is going to be we see a role for him. Like Hassan Haskins, or Brian Robinson, where they have a role. They're probably not a starter, but
I agree.
Listen, if they get drafted somewhere and the starter, strains a hammy in the preseason, they're going to feel confident being we'll give Chris Rodriguez 15 carries on opening day. And we're not worried that he can't do it because he's literally, done it in the SEC for 3 straight years. So I think he's a guy people will like, and he'll have a specific role, but he's a dude when he takes over as a starter and someone gives you a first, you sell. Because, his cap in the NFL is probably, 13 points a game. So he's like Jordan Howard at best. So, yeah,
Chris Rodriguez. Pick. I love this because I do think the NFL, there's a team just looking at him he's the hammer that can keep my Austin Eckler fresh. That's my Josh Kelly. There he is, right? And actually use him as the hammer. I could see it, man. That's a really good pick. Someone in the chat said Jordan Howard upside. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes it move, as you would say, Shane, right?
Definitely. Look, I had some of the best years of Jordan Howard's career in Philadelphia. Those were exciting times. I just remember every time him coming on the field and me going, Jesus Christ, what was wrong with Miles Sanders? Like, you're letting this dude take snaps from you. Come on.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. Ray, can you hang out for a few and take some more questions here?
Yeah, I can hang out for a few more minutes.
Alrighty. So let's what do we think here? I guess how about this? I'll just ask you, real quick, real brief. What are you thinking about the 2024 class? What are the positives? What are the top things? When you think 24 class, who comes to your mind?
Quarterbacks. Caleb Williams comes to my mind. You see, I got a USC shirt on. I think he's the best quarterback in the class, but you got Drake May, Quinn Ewers, potentially Jalen Milroe, JJ McCarthy, any of the other 23 guys that come back. I think quarterback. I think Travion Henderson. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. I think Brock Bowers. I think there's some legit cats in 24 where it's funny because we always say next year's class is better, but there's some dogs in the 24 class. Like, the crazy part is we knew the 22 class was kind of not good. Like, we knew that. We knew it was going to be like Breece Hall, some receivers. We knew it would be some of them. Like, there were some good ones, but we knew it was a dog class, and we talked ourselves into liking it, right? I talked myself into having James Cook, 108. I literally talked myself into a player that I graded in my own grading system as one of the worst running backs in the 2022 class. I talked him into my 108. 24 is legit. Like, at least on paper right now, you got an elite tight end. You've got a potential elite running back. I'm not going to call Travion Henderson elite yet. You've got an elite prospect in Marvin Harrison Jr., and you have some quarterbacks that are doing some things in college that their profile is going to be legit. It's impressive.
Good stuff. Okay, so we'll go to a couple more here. We got some super chats that we have to address, because who knows how you could refund these things. So thank you for your generosity. And this guy's name is Charlie, and so is my 5-year-old. So a little homer pick for me as well here. Thank you very much, Facebook Disruptor. He said, thanks for the help. I know I blew up the DMs, went from the worst team this year and was the laughing stock of then my League 2, snagging Watson to pair with Allen and Mark Andrews. Still have a couple firsts for running backs. Roster review was dope. So this is a shout out to Shane and Scott for helping out Charlie with his roster.
Yeah, like I always tell these guys or gals when they jump in, man, thank you for trusting us with your roster. And thank you for listening to our advice. You know what I mean? And coming to us for the advice. I think me and Scott mentioned it before. Like, there's one time someone went directly against our advice and we were aghast when they threw a bunch of assets into one trade, and we were like, no, it's specifically what we told you not to do. But look, it's awesome when people come to us for reviews and then they're able to actually act on what we've told them to do or suggested they do. So I appreciate you guys, really.
Yeah, then he's got a follow-up question here. Is Algier worth trading for Bell to stack with Watson? So for David Bell to stack with Watson, or a 24 second, or just hold for 23 RB depth? Feel like got to move now or hold. What do you think, guys?
Stack a little pick on there. I'll take it. Give me can I swap a second and a third? I'll take the Bell in the second side. I like it.
Scott wants to take Bell.
You know what? I don't like Tyler Algier. So
I'm going to disagree because I just play the psychology of people. I can get more than Bell in a 24 second.
All right.
Like, he's going to get he's got 4. I'm willing to bet that, and Atlanta's offensive line is actually pretty good, right? Like, that. Like, they're a pretty good offensive line. So I'm willing to bet that within a 4-week sample size, I'll let Algier do his thing for 4 weeks, and then I'll get more than Bell in a second. I'm willing to make that 4-week bet, and I might not even have to wait 4 weeks to cash out, and I can get a little bit more than that. He's worth more than that. Stacking Bell with I literally don't. I have no clue. But is that something we're counting on? Bell and Watson hooking up and being at Nah, man. I'm not doing that.
Now, I'd just rather throw a random third and get David Bell. Like, if you want David Bell on your roster that
Yeah.
much, just be like, dude, here's a third. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be generous. Here's a second third.
Yeah, 2/3. I was about to say, I'll give you 2/3 for your
Yeah.
David Bell. That should
And I
get
agree
it
with,
done.
but I definitely agree with Scott. I don't like Tyler Algier at all. But I know I should be able to give me a straight up second for him.
I'll sell Algier for a second. You throw in Damian Williams. I got the starter next week. Put it that way.
I want a
That's what I'm
23
betting
second.
on.
I don't want a 24 second.
I can see that. Holding out for a 23. Yeah.
I want a 20. I'm not trying to get a first. Give me a 23. I don't want the 24 second. I want the 23 second. I want A-Chain. I want Quorum, right? I don't want I couldn't even tell you who that would be right now in 24.
Okay, Mike, thank you for the super chat, man. Appreciate it. And by the way, if you guys are digging this stream, we got Ray G on here. Awesome for joining us. If you're enjoying it, hit that thumbs up, give us a like. Shane's our resident like police. He'll check it out. Make sure you guys are doing that. All right, so Mike, what's the price you're happy selling Barkley for in a 12-team Superflex start 10? Saquon.
Scott hates Saquon, so he'll sell him for a second. But
I was going to say, make sure everyone hits the like. We've had 400 people in here the whole time. Like, make sure you like the hell out of the video.
Hit the like button.
I'm going to abstain from answering this because my realism of what I would sell a running back for, I'll let Ray and Shane take it.
No, say it. What would you sell him for? 2 seconds, wouldn't you?
No. I think if you can get any two firsts of type of value for Barkley, I'm doing it. Or if you can get a second and you're getting Chris Olave or someone like that, you're getting a receiver that would cost you more than a first, I would do that as well. I think that's the risk-averse move to cash out on Barkley for. It's got to be for receivers or picks, though. It's got to be for the equity that everyone else covets. It's not, just taking a running back unless you're getting at least a first. Like, you could do that. But, okay, I'd sell him for.
Would you sell him for Amon-Ra? Would you sell him for Amon-Ra?
Yeah. Yep. What I'd rather do is I sell him for Josh Jacobs or Miles Sanders and try to get a first on top. That's the process move, trying to drill down the running backs to the lowest common denominator. Because if I'm still content, and that's where people get a little bit wonky, because if you're contending, if you have Barkley, you're probably not 0-4. You know what I mean? He's probably helped you get to at least 2-2. So, if I'm contending, I still want to sell Barkley, and people can't wrap their heads around that. I want out of him if I can get a first plus, Miles Sanders or Josh Jacobs just based on the process. And I don't know. Shane's maybe different. Shane likes getting his hammers.
Yeah, but I don't like running backs that are. I'm not going to pay up for a running back, but to sell one, I want wide receivers. I'm trying to capitalize on what Saquon is right now. He's the running back one. So at a minimum, I need T. Higgins and something. Like Chris Olave, I'd be okay with that, but I want something a little more established. Look, Olave looks like he's going to be an absolute monster, but there's other wide receivers that have looked that way after 4 weeks, and we don't remember their names because they never panned out. So that's the only difference is I just want someone a little more established, and also I'm in love with T. Higgins for the last month, so he's my go-to. Pick-wise, I'd take a 23 and a 24, and you can have them.
Yeah, I've got an offer sitting in my inbox right now where I give Drake London and get Saquon Barkley. No. I have not hit decline yet. Jay Allen, you will be getting a decline, but thank you very much for your offer, sir.
But you know what? That's a good idea. I like that. I'd be going.
No,
it's
I'd be trying to get Drake London
off of him.
Yeah, because I'm a contender at least for now in that league. All right, let's do Ray. Can we do one more and then we'll go?
Yeah, that's cool. Cool.
This one's for you, buddy. Famous Dogs, 12-team Superflex PPR, Chase or the 2023 101 and a mid 2023 first.
Wow. There's no doubt you put names to those picks and the values there. I mean, Chase is the best player. Let me say it like this. The best player in the deal is Ja'Marr Chase. That's the best player in the deal. The best value in this trade, I almost think having the 101 and that mid first is probably I know it sounds crazy, is probably a little more valuable than Chase and the sentiment on him right now. Bijan in the mid first. I'm still going to take Ja'Marr Chase. I still think that's the side that I would lean on. When I lay my head down at night, I know I got Ja'Marr Chase, man. No matter what, I don't care who you put in those picks. When I lay my head down at night and that Dynasty MFL is closed, I still know I have Ja'Marr Chase. As good as we think Bijan could be, as good as we think Jordan Addison or Will Levis can be, I've played this game long enough to see them cats bust out, man. These cats that we think could just, I've seen it happen. I know what I have with Ja'Marr Chase, but I think that 101 in that mid first that's nice. That's
intriguing. It's a hell of an offer, right?
It's intriguing, man.
Yeah, it'll make it pucker up a little bit. That's for sure. All right, man.
That's tough.
What are you doing, Scott? Yeah, that's your team.
Is there a world where I mean, listen, Bijan's gonna have to thread the needle. There's still risk that he could get hurt. There's risk anybody could get hurt though. So it's kind of the same on both sides. But is there a shot if Bijan threads the needle and he's a top 15 pick in the NFL draft? Is there a shot you can trade that 101 back for Ja'Marr Chase next March, next April, next May?
If T. Higgins keeps balling, yeah.
I mean, and I think Chase is going to be a top 12 receiver, but if he's wide receiver 9 on the year, which people will go, oh, that's a disappointment. I mean, dude, you know how hard it is to finish in the top 3 or top 5 every year? Like, I'm not going to hold it against a guy if he's wide receiver 9 instead of wide receiver 4. But it might be just enough shine off of him to go, all right, he's not just so much better than every receiver in the league. Man, I can trade a receiver for potentially the next, Saquon Barkley or Jonathan Taylor, and they don't have any wear and tear on them. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've already traded him. I've hit accept.
Yeah, Shane did it.
I've thanked Chase for his time on my roster. We wish him well.
Thank you for your services.
Yeah, like
that better damn well be the 101 though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Look, under the auspice or the pretense that we were given, it's the 101. And look, I just made a trade where I traded Justin Jefferson for the 101 and some things. And I guarantee it's the 101 because it's my pick I'm traded back for, and there ain't no way it's getting above the 101.
Is Bijan that you think he changes your dynasty roster more than Justin Jefferson?
No, I think I can break him up. So it's more about I'm already planning on trading back to the 103 and going quarterback and just splitting that up into additional assets. Okay. Whether it's an additional 23 first.
Yeah.
Or 24 first, because as you were talking about, we like 24 class a lot. So, but I'm already thinking, look, I'm going to trade because I know whoever else I trade that to, they're going to take Bijan, and I'm going to go, all right, I'm fine with Young or Stroud. It's fine. You know what I mean? And I'll just break it up into.
But I think that's important for us to say that though, right? Because we think that way, right? Because in my mind, like, I think it would be awesome to have Bijan on a team and see him score points on my fantasy roster. But I know that I can split Bijan into a lot of different things.
Right.
But there are people who listen to this, man, and their sole focus is I'm drafting him and I'm keeping Bijan Robinson, and he's going to be my anchor RB for years to come. There are a lot of people who think that, and I'm not saying that's the wrong way to think, but I just think that we need to let them know. I think there are other ways, and we think this is Dynasty 101, but some people are just getting into it or they don't know, man, and they're like, I want the 101 because you're telling me Bijan's the second coming of Adrian Peterson.
Right.
And what we're really saying is maybe, but what I do know is that league mates will salivate over him, and the correct process play is to split. Is that what we're telling people?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Now, if we could predict no injury, the absolute perfect process play is let him play his rookie year and then let that hype build on what he's going to be, and then trade him for even more. Because like Saquon after his rookie year, like we thought his before, and Saquon was going in the first round of startup drafts in Devy leagues I was in, like NFL players, and then he was first Devy off the board at like 112. That's what Bijan's getting, that kind of hype. And then Saquon had that monster rookie year. Like if he could do that, like I'm already looking forward to trading Bryce Hall And I love Bryce Hall, but I'm already looking forward to him. Like, and I keep pumping him up on Twitter. I'm like, it's coming. The breakout's coming. Because as soon as the breakouts comes, I go, all right, what wide receiver and what other running back and pick?
Yeah, he's on the block.
Yeah, like immediately. It's like, hey, he's the RB1 in Dynasty for, I don't know, the next 6 months. Come get him. And then I'll just, I'll pick up other running backs and then just build through my wide receivers.
For sure. All right, we can stay on and answer Alex's question here. Let's get Ray out of here. But Ray, plug yourself, man. You got a lot going on. Destination Devy. You're now a colleague with Scott. Congrats on getting him. Congrats to both of you guys there. But plug your stuff, man. You've got a Patreon. Go for it. All you.
Patreon.com/all gas. That's my community over there. But honestly, I just asked that everybody tap in the Destination Devy podcast feed. You can find it everywhere. If you guys have not listened to episode 1 of what Scott produced as the flagship Dynasty pod under DD, you're doing yourself a disservice. I mean that sincerely. Just the foundation that he laid about what that show is going to be and how he's going to talk about Dynasty Fantasy Football. You need to listen to it. If you want to become a better Dynasty player, like, come over to DD, just listen to that pod, man. It was fantastic stuff. So I just want to shout out him, the whole DD squad. We're putting out dope stuff in a free newsletter. Got an awesome team doing dope stuff at DD. So if you want some rookie talk, some Dynasty talk, some Devy talk, some C2C talk, come over and check out the squad. If you don't want to pay, we got a free newsletter, man. You can go to my Twitter at RayGQue, subscribe right there. We give you all kinds of free stuff that probably should be behind the paywall, but we're giving it to y'all because we want y'all to have the information. So tap into the whole squad, man. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Thank you very much, Ray. We appreciate you. Like I said, this is a big moment for us with our anniversary tomorrow. So means a lot. Means a lot.
Yep. Thank you for coming on, Ray.
Appreciate y'all. Happy anniversary. Thank y'all, man.
Have a good night.
Thanks, Ray. That was awesome, guys.
Yep.
That was very cool. That was very cool.
There's
Alex,
a reason RayGQue is one of the best in the biz, right? Because he's one of the
best
best in the biz.
Exactly, he's the GOAT. Yes. Alex, let's address your question here. Thank you for the super chat, sir. Get 423 firsts. Give Lamar, Hawkinson, and Damian Harris.
No.
I don't want to give up Lamar.
No, Lamar is about 4 firsts himself. The fact you're giving up Damian Harris and Hawkinson, that's maybe neither of them are worth a first, but that's the kind of deal I'd buy Lamar with all day. So boom, don't do it.
Yeah, and I remember this question in the comments too. I feel like there was some more context behind it. Like that was my initial first answers. It's basically a free Hawkinson and Damian Harris. There was a little bit more context behind it, I think, with he's totally blowing up rebuild. So anyway, but with that information, keeping Lamar there, you could still rebuild with him.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Alex. Matt, what do you do if your league values RBs like crazy? Value them higher as well, or stay course with the wide receivers?
I mean,
take advantage of that.
Yeah, you should be trading them to your league mates because they overvalue the running backs like crazy. And build your roster through, again, wide receivers, and then you know where you get your running backs in the rookie draft. In the second round, you just go mad and you take Deuce Vaughn and Devin A-Chain. I got it right that time. This time next year, I'll be calling him Romeo A-Chain or something. Romeo. Yeah, take advantage of your league mates. You already pretty much in this sentence have told yourself what to do. It's time to go pillage them for their assets.
Yeah, it's hard to quantify, but the idea of kind of going against the grain, reading your league, understanding how everybody's going to be trying to play, understanding what they value, what their trends are. There is some value going against the grain and doing that. Where it's sometimes hard to decipher is when everyone in the league is doing what, like the analytics will say that you should do. So if everyone's approaching the running back position like Shane and I do, you always have to weigh that balance of like, all right, I really don't want to invest in running backs, but if everyone's fading them, does it make sense to maybe make this the league where I maybe am a little more aggressive in getting certain ones? And even I'll do that. That's why I play in a lot of leagues. That's why I play a portfolio instead of one or two, because you can diversify like that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's go. We'll go for 7. We'll go for a couple more minutes here. Please no super chats. It's nice of you to well, we got another one because I wanted to answer some non super chat questions. So thank you very much for your generosity, but we're going to try to get some of the non-colorful highlighted questions here. Thank you, Matt. 14 team, 1 QB, start 9. Swift for ETN, mid 23 first, and an early 23 second.
Team start 9. Oh yeah. I've been trying to move Swift, and I finally did today. So proud of myself. I do that. Bye. See you, Swift.
Yeah, I mean it's a process trade. I'm not super excited in a 14 team 1 QB start 9 about late first and early seconds, but there's also a range of outcomes where ETN's pretty close to impacting the same way as Swift. So I can get behind it. Nice process trade.
Yeah. It is a good process trade indeed. Okay, let's go up to the top here. From Andrew, 12 team Superflex start 11, J-Rob and a mid 23 second for Javonte Williams. Contending window starting next year, and be on the lookout for a Javonte Williams show tomorrow.
I don't want to pay anything for Javonte right now. Scott has made me so fearful of Javonte's future outcome for legitimate reasons. He's not just fear mongering. I'm not paying J-Rob. Look, no, I'm just not doing it. No, nope.
I actually don't want to buy Javonte Williams at all, but I'd be happy to send James Robinson for him. It's the mid 23 second that I'm like, do I really want to trade both? Like that doesn't feel like what I would have to pay for Javonte Williams. I can get that same deal, I think, in 6 months. Now it's not going to be James Robinson because we know what's going to happen to him in 6 months. No one's going to want him because he's running back off an Achilles that it's the off season. So why would anyone trade for him? But I don't want to buy Javonte Williams right now. You'll see when we do the we drop the Javonte video. Like I don't want him. I'll buy him back later. He'll be just as cheap in 6 months.
Yeah, it's 2026 classes. Do you like that class, Shane?
2026 class? No, I actually do like the 24 and 25 class though.
Let's see here. All right, we'll do one last one here. We were just talking about Javonte for George Pickens, 12 team Superflex.
George
PPR.
Pickens, give me
Pickens all day.
Yeah,
all day, huh? That's fine. Getting out for Pickens.
I mean, listen, he's a running back. He tore his ACL 5 weeks after J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins took until week 4 to get back. Well, technically week 3, but really week 4. Do you really want to wait? Do you really think the way Broncos have handled that backfield for the year and a half that Javonte's been there, that this is a prime team that drafts like one of the running backs we just drafted in this rookie draft? And do you really want Javonte Williams at the price, like a first round pick price, if they bring in another day 2 running back? I just don't see it. His window, as we call it, is closed. Unfortunately, terrible timing.
I actually got to pull this one up right now because it had Pickens' name, but it's also in an inbox. This is going to be our last one, but let's help out Jesse here. 2023 early second and Khalil Herbert for George Pickens.
George Pickens, please. Jesus,
couldn't even get the words out. It's George Pickens.
No.
Well, and here's the reason: George Pickens is already valued. Like I don't think he's valued as some of the other higher rookies, but the currency is going to be on George Pickens' side. Like anybody that has Khalil Herbert, have you tried to trade him? What are you getting?
Yeah, you want to get 2 seconds, but can you even get 1?
Well, you could probably get 1, but here's the response. When you go try to trade Khalil Herbert, the response is probably, man, he looks a lot better in my lineup than he does in what I can get for him in trade.
Yeah.
So, like, if you can get him in a deal to get one of these insulated assets, Pickens, no matter what he does this year, he's already shown enough, which really is not much, but he's shown enough to where people are going to go, oh, they had Trubisky. They had a rookie quarterback. Like, I'm going to give him a pass. He will get a full pass, just like Rashad Bateman did going into year 2. So, yeah, give me all the Pickens.
All right, we are gonna call it. What a night, man! That was awesome having Ray on. We had a ton of people in here. Just double check, make sure you hit that like if you did. Yeah, we had a great group, guys. You want to say something?
I don't say smart things, but I'll just say, look, it's awesome how much people have supported the show. Like I've said a few times over the last year, just doing the show, I've had more interaction with the community and viewers than I've had in probably the previous 4 or 5 years I've been in this thing. And I love doing the show with Clay and Scott, and I'm happy that Clay lied to us, told us it was going to be a 5-minute show every night, and we were like, sure, we can do that. But no, just really happy that everybody enjoys the show, and I'm happy that people support us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I echo everything Shane said. I want to give a shout out to Clay. All right.
No,
Shane
really.
and I did Manic and Chill together for almost 2 years before Clay brought us onto this show.
Yeah.
So Shane and I have known each other for a long time. So we have a pretty good rapport. Like him and I could literally record any stream, podcast, whatever, and just talk for hours. But for Clay to bring us both in, and he's done such a masterful job of being the balance between the two and giving us both, he will defer a question to one of us and then the other. And he's a great delegator of what needs to be done. Like he runs the show without, like we didn't know what we were getting into when we started this show, Shane. Like we didn't really interact with Clay. We didn't know how we would be with the host. Like, was it going to be weird? Would you or I have to carry the show? But I just want to give you the kudos because I think you kind of fly under the radar. People always say, oh, Shane and Scott, but like Clay's a big part of this. Clay does so much in the background. Like truthfully, a lot of the stuff, Shane and I just show up. Like we live, eat, breathe, shit Dynasty all day, even during our regular jobs. So we can literally show up and just talk about anything. But Clay, you do a lot behind the scenes. I just want to thank you for putting this together. Congrats to you on the 1 year. We're just excited to be on board and seeing where this thing grows. So thank you to all the viewers and everything. But most importantly, kudos to you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I gotta second that too, though. Good, yeah, because we did Manic and Chill for however long, and we didn't.
It was manic.
Full potential. It didn't reach its full potential, and the only reason this channel is because of Clay. Because honestly, it wouldn't exist without Clay thinking about it, and it definitely all the other stuff that he does definitely keeps the channel running. Dude, he's the perfect third piece to us. I said that in one of the comments. I said, me and Scott have been podcasting together for a long time, but just you add Clay to it, and now all of a sudden it was like, oh, this feels like that was that thing that was missing. So yeah, love Clay.
Hey, this is big hugs, big hugs here from Clay. Appreciate that. All right, guys, we're calling it a night. Appreciate everybody joining, and we'll see you soon. Be on the lookout for a show tomorrow. Later.
Peace, everyone.